Okay guys, so now we've come down to the riverside of the Chicago city. As you can see behind me, all these buildings. Look at this building. It's crazy, isn't it? Very tall building. So walking around, there is the Trump Tower behind me, as you can see. Going to try and get the cruise and enjoy from there. Okay, let's see what happens. I'll keep you updated. Okay, this is the Chicago Trump Tower, as you can see, and this glass building is the third tallest building in Chicago. So one of the boats have left, so we need to go and catch the next boat. Or shall we say cruise? Yeah, we need to catch that cruise. Yo, so I'm under the bridge, but this is like a see-through bridge. So when the cars go by, this is proper scary bridge. You see that? You can see the car shadow going by. Okay. Scary bridge. Okay, so right now we're right in the heart of the city. As you can see, all these buildings behind me. Alright folks, so we're about to go for a cruise. You can see behind me. Yeah, this should be fun.
Now, they may call Chicago the second city. I prefer to see it as the second chance city. I've been given a second chance today to show you the beautiful city I missed out on so many years ago, and I'm hoping you don't make the same mistake I did, because this city is truly one of a kind. With all that in mind, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to the first building on our tour, the Wrigley Building. It's the one that looks like two buildings with a bridge between it, right over there. Now, this style of architecture is known as Spanish Revivalist style. That's because this was modeled after La Giralda, the Seville Cathedral in Spain. This building was built at a time when America was a very young country, bumbling around trying to find itself. And on this journey of self-discovery, we borrowed a lot of architecture from previous buildings from other countries, mainly European, because that's what we knew. Now, don't worry, throughout this tour we will see other more American forms of architecture because eventually we did start to make them. This is called the Wrigley Building because it was made using William J. Wrigley's chewing gum fortune. So if you've had his gum, you didn't help build this, but if they're going to build something else, maybe you helped with that. So we're going under this bridge, and on the other side we are going to see a much more American style of architecture. You probably saw it on the way in. It is hard to miss. It is Trump International Tower and Hotel. This spectacular building is the second tallest building in Chicago. It was built in 2009, and it is a style of architecture known as contextualism. That means it is meant to blend in and complement its surroundings or its context. In this case, the buildings and the river. It's got that glass face that visually connects it to the water below, while it has those three patio-like things, or setbacks, which complement the nearby buildings. That first setback is the same height as the Wrigley Building. The second one is the same height as that white rocket ship-looking building across the river. And the third and final setback is the same height as the big black box right next door that we'll see as we go around the curve. Now, this building was designed by Adrian Smith. He's an architect that we'll talk a little bit more about later, and you may be familiar with some of his other work. And if you like the look of Trump Tower and you were thinking, I wish I could live up there looking down on all the peasants below, good news, you can, for the low, low price of $20 million, which is what the penthouse most recently sold for. And I know what you're thinking, that sounds a little low. Yes, it is, because they were asking for $30 million.
Everybody downstairs, we do.
Was here for a long time. Almost all of these buildings popped up within the last 6 years, which is very quick and very recent. They're all contextualism, with lots of glass and curves, like right in front of us, with River Point, otherwise known as the Hot Pocket or McDonald's pie box-shaped building, whatever you want to call it. Another great building over here is Wolf Point East. It's a beautiful building. The inside is gorgeous. They've got a wonderful pool. You can see the outside of it right there. My friend Salim lives there. Oh, there he is. Everyone say hi, Salim. That's not him. Don't look. Don't look. Look the other way. Look at something else. Captain? Creative styles with your structures. So he modeled these after sailboats, which is why they have that triangular shape and these round porthole-like windows. If you are in town from Washington, D.C., which is where I'm originally from, Harry Weiss helped design parts of the metro train system, how they get It's got that slight curve to it, and it doesn't have as much glass as other buildings, but it is still contextualism. Now here comes the nerdiest thing I talk about on the tour, I think. The radius of the curve of this building is actually the exact same as the radius of the curve on the green Nuveen building across the river. This is a great example of these buildings showing that they can play well with others and trying to complement one another. That is contextualism. Now we're coming back into Wolf Point, and there's so much to look at, and you're probably wondering, well, what do I look at? Well, look no further than the diva of Wolf Point, 150 North Riverside, the Y-shaped building right in front of us. Now, why is it shaped like that, you're asking? Well, I'll tell you. Chicago has a rule that buildings must be 30 feet back from the riverfront to allow for the Riverwalk to be built there. So they had to deal with that. But they couldn't back the building up because there are train lines behind them and you can't build on those. So 150 North Riverside is pinched in between these immovable objects. It's a very tiny building at the bottom. As you can see, that part there touching the ground is only 39 feet wide, which is about as wide as a school bus is long. That is not very big for a building. So you can see there might be some issues. It's a tall, skinny building in a very windy city. They had to find some ways around it. They did it with those diagonal angles right there. Basically, if I held my arm out like this, you could push it down very easily. But if there was something connecting my arm to my body, it would be much harder to push. And this works in the exact same way. However, it is still a tall building, and that means that when the wind does push it, even though it won't break or fall over, it will sway, which is how Chicago's buildings are all designed, to bend and sway, but not break. However, too much sway causes seasickness. So they had to find a way around that, which they did with what is called liquid slosh dampers. Basically, there's 12 giant buckets of water on the highest floor of this building, and so that when the wind pushes the building one way, the water sloshes the other, and this slows it down so it doesn't sway too far, and no one gets seasick. A lot of buildings in Chicago do that exact same thing. Now on the other side, coming up after this bridge, we have 1110 North Wacker, otherwise known as the Bank of America building. That's 311 South Wacker. She debuted in 1990, and every night since her crown has lit up the night sky. It used to be with 1,800 fluorescent lights, however those changed to LED to be more energy conscientious. Now, unfortunately, she also lit up the night sky for birds passing through, minding their own business. They would be attracted to the light, mistake it for the moon, and crash right into it. So, we have decided to now dim the lights for any major bird migrations. The princess is right over there with the giant statue on top. That is the Chicago Board of Trade. It's an Art Deco building, and it was the tallest building in Chicago for 35 years, from 1930 to 1965. The statue on top is of Ceres, the Roman goddess of agriculture and grain, because it is the Board of Trade after all, and agricultural trades were very important at the time. Now, Adrian Smith is known as the world's tallest architect, because he designs the tallest buildings in the world. In real life, he is 5'7". He's a medium-sized king. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You know, not every building needs to be the tallest one in the city. Lots of buildings bring lots of other things to the city. Some of them are well read, some of them are funny, some give architecture boat tours. So it's about what the building brings to the city around it. Looked at on the way in and thought, what is going on here? It's a map. This is a map of the Chicago River. Towards the top you can see the Y shape of River Point, and you can see that orange block. That's this building. They wanted to put themselves on the map. So that's a giant UR here, so we don't get lost down here. This map wasn't always here. This is a relatively new addition. This building was upset that no one was talking about it on architecture boat tours. So they spent $800,000 to put themselves on the map by putting the map on themselves. And did it work? Well, I didn't tell you the name of the building, so no, it didn't. I'm just kidding. It's 300 South Wacker. It's just not a cool name, so it's the map building. finds it, I would be happy to take pictures for you.
Okay guys, so that was the boat tour. Now I'm freezing right now, it's very cold. Because the Chicago is very windy, it makes it even worse. And the riverside is very cold. That was excellent tour. Got to learn a lot of things because the guy was telling us about the city and all the buildings. That was fun, that was really good. So if you're coming to Chicago, you need to do a boat tour or do a cruise. That is a must if you're coming to this city. You would really enjoy it. Okay, so that was it for today. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed my vlog, please remember to subscribe, share and like my videos, and don't forget to press the bell icon button. You will get the notification whenever I'm uploading a new video. I hope you enjoyed my video. So I will see you in the next vlog. Take care, bye bye.